Okay, good morning. Can everyone hear me? I don't talk into actual microphones like this. If you follow us on Instagram, you'll see me. You'll see me talk on my tiny microphone, but this is a change. So, good morning. Thank you for being here with me. I'm super grateful to be able to chat with everyone and to share more about what I think is the best theme ever. Blossom, but I'm a little biased because I am a florist, and I think that flowers really do make everything better. From birthdays to breakups and all the moments in between, they somehow make our human experience just feel more magical and a little softer and even more whimsical. So blossoms seem like the picture-perfect little buds that we love to admire, but there's always more going on beneath the surface. Blossoming and blooming takes time, and it's a process. And I don't think it's about becoming someone or something brand new. To me, it's about becoming who you've always been, but just out loud. And that's not always easy. For me, it's been messy, sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes a little cringy, but also very joyful and absolutely worth it. So it's in the roots. One of the hardest things for me, even as an adult, has been advocating for myself. My default is to people please. Something as simple as just correcting people when they've mispronounced my name always makes me die a little inside, cringe so hard. I come from a long line of Michaels. My grandpa is Mikel McGee Sr., my dad is Mikel McGee Jr., and then there's me, Mikel McGee. And in hindsight, I do really appreciate the creative twist on an old classic. I love my name now, but my name used to be one of the things about myself that I liked the least. Growing up as one of the only black kids in a small Catholic school, all I wanted to do was fit in. I wanted an easy to pronounce normal name, so I let people say my name however they wanted to. And by doing that, I shrunk myself. People see my name and they might make assumptions, and not always the best ones, but names carry roots. My dad and grandpa are deeply woven in Milwaukee's fabric, not only as aldermen, but as community activists who showed up in big, sometimes radical ways. When people tell me stories about them, I'm reminded of not just their impact being in their title, but in being in their presence. It's how they showed up for people. And in my family, that commitment to showing up isn't just history, it's a value that runs deep. My mom would reinforce this in her own way. She always does, still to this day, tells me never to show up with long hands. And if you're not familiar with that phrase, it means don't come empty-handed. Bring something. Food, kindness, your energy, your help. She also instilled education as a non-negotiable. Education was power because it was the one thing that no one could take away. And that lesson came from lived experience. When my mom was just a year old, she came from Guyana with my grandma and joined my grandpa, who was studying accounting at the University of Minnesota. Those choices and those leaps of faith became the roots that I stand on. So when I say these are my roots, I don't mean a neat little family tree. Roots are messy, they're tangled, they're hidden, they're not pretty, but they're what holds us steady. And for a long time, I thought blooming meant trying to make myself small and neat so people would accept me. But the truth is, blooming is the opposite. Blooming is bold, sometimes loud, sometimes a little chaotic. Blooming is stepping fully into who you already are. It's not about becoming the perfect flower, it's about carrying forward the roots of kindness and showing up for people. Having the courage to stop shrinking and start expanding. To honor where you come from while daring to take up space. Miracle Grow. Milwaukee is my home, my city, my comfort, my story. I'm grateful for the opportunity to venture away and explore, but Milwaukee will always be my home base. After high school, I went to the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse for 1 semester before very, very quickly realizing it was not for me. I ended up back in Milwaukee pursuing undergrad in speech-language pathology at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I don't really know what sparked that interest, but I love the idea of helping people advocate for themselves through communication. By the time I was in my 5th year at UWM, I needed a few extra electives to graduate, and I stumbled across a course that seemed very easy and fun, which was exactly what I needed in that moment. The class was Intro to Floral Design. I loved it so much, I signed up for part 2, which was weddings and special occasions. Around that same time, I got rejection letters from every single speech pathology grad program I applied to. And honestly, I felt really stupid. It crushed me, and I felt like I just wasted 5 years of my life. My dream of being a speech pathologist essentially evaporated overnight, and with that came a big question mark of what was next. I was not ready to face the real world or the mountain of student loans waiting for me, so I applied to UW-Milwaukee's graduate program in criminal justice. I had witnessed firsthand how incarceration impacts families, including in my own family, and I wanted to be a part of something that could help create change. Speech pathology to criminal justice to floral design doesn't really read like a logical path, but life is funny like that. Blooming isn't always linear. Sometimes it's about the detours, the pivots, the unexpected soil that ends up nourishing you. For me, flowers still found their way back in. While I was in grad school, I had to pick and save and go get their little 3 for $12 bunches and sit at my kitchen table designing my arrangements. I called them my struggle arrangements because they were kind of ugly, but they were also kind of cute. I'd share them with my roommate, my friends, my family, never really realizing at the time that flowers were not just a little hobby. They were quietly rooting themselves into my story. After grad school, I went to work for nonprofits, and the work was very meaningful, but I never stopped designing on the side. Flowers were this quiet thread running through my life. And in 2019, I finally said yes to sharing them out loud. I participated in my very first pop-up where my official/unofficial, it's not really a business, it's just like a fun little thing I'm doing at my kitchen counter, business debuted months before the pandemic. I decided to call it 4-1 Floral. It's the combination of Milwaukee's area code with floral, 4-1 Floral. See what I did there? Shortly after this, the pandemic shut everything down. The pandemic reminded me that time is precious, and that forced pause made me realize that saying yes to flowers wasn't just about starting a business, it was about saying yes to myself. Being physically isolated highlighted the value of connection, and flowers became more than just a decoration. They were communication and care, a way to show joy and love when we couldn't physically show up. And through them, I feel like I found my voice, not through a title or a degree, but through creating. Okay, so this business has allowed me to tap into what I call my inner art kid. I never considered myself to be creative or artistic because I was never conventionally good at art or drawing. But when I look back, I have always been drawn to the arts in some way. I played violin from elementary school through high school. I was in tap, ballet, and jazz for several years, and I definitely was a little baby hipster with a chrome backpack and Birkenstocks in high school. For so long, I wrote these things off, but they've always really been there. I love a good craft, I love photo albums, scrapbooks, and I consider myself a very nostalgic person. Which brings me to keeping the junk. So that sounds very counterintuitive, especially coming from a recovering people-pleasing perfectionist like me. To be very real with you, 2024 was a very, very challenging year for me in all aspects. We had a very negative client interaction that completely shook me to my core. It was the first time in 5 years that we've dealt with somebody who was so deeply dissatisfied with our work, and I just could not keep replaying this over and over in my head. I started second-guessing everything I was doing with the business, and my confidence took a huge nosedive. I like to joke that it's because my moon and rising are in Virgo. But the truth is, I can be my own harshest critic. And that moment haunted me for months after. Not long after this, my mom was involved in a very serious hit-and-run accident, which was and still is very difficult for our family to navigate. And by this point, I was kind of sleepwalking through life. I was so distracted by everything that I missed an event delivery because I had written the days down wrong. By the end of the year, I was emotionally drained, uninspired, and honestly on the verge of crashing out. I started 2025 off in a funk, and I reached my full crash out moment during Valentine's Day. As a florist, Valentine's Day is like our Super Bowl. It is the busiest day of the year, and it's when we need to be on our A game. I love Valentine's Day. It's a day about love, celebrating love in all forms. There's candy, there's flowers. I love Valentine's Day. But without fail, there's always some form of cosmic hijinks that happens. One year, I accidentally ordered 3,000 tulips instead of 300. Yeah. And this year, my worst nightmare happened. Thousands of dollars of product just disappeared. There was a mix-up with our wholesaler, and our delivery never made it to us. We had 24 hours to start fulfilling orders and no flowers to make that happen. Needless to say, I crashed out. I was tired of people-pleasing, tired of going through the motions, and just tired of acting like everything was okay. I had a meltdown in the car, but we did indeed survive Valentine's Day. But that really opened up my eyes to the fact that something needed to change. I knew I couldn't keep operating like this, and that I needed an outlet and not just the usual self-care things like drink more water, move your body, meditate, all of those things that I've tried a million times. I needed something new. So I started keeping a junk journal. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a journal filled with junk. Receipts, parking tickets, unfortunately for me, Polaroids. It's my candid feelings mixed with junk. Things that look insignificant on their own, but together they tell a story. My junk journal reminds me that nothing is wasted. Growth doesn't come from perfection, it comes from scraps, the fragments, the pieces of our story that we'd probably rather forget. Scraps nourish us the same way that fertilizer nourishes soil. Fertilizer is made up of what's been broken down, what's left behind, and what looks like it doesn't matter anymore. But that's exactly what makes the soil rich enough to bloom again. Rejection letters, the weight of student loans, the stillness of the pandemic, grief, and thousands of dollars wasted on too many tulips, they've all become part of my soil. And I think the same is true for all of us. When we embrace our scraps, our fragments, our memories, our junk, even the parts of our story we'd rather skip, we find fuel. Fertilizer turns what's left behind into nourishment. All those scraps and so-called junk became my fertilizer. And in a sense, they softened the ground so I could grow in new ways. So this is where my inner child comes in. Truth be told, I've always felt like an awkward black girl. I desperately wanted to blend in and have the perfectly flowy ponytail and side bang, and I never really saw myself represented in things that I was interested in. I was told my interests were weird and that I talked too proper. I was always worried about doing the right thing, getting good grades, not disappointing my family, doing all the conventional things that you should do, that I kind of stopped considering what I actually wanted to do. Through journaling, I've kind of had this wake-up call. I'm not a monolith. All of my hobbies and interests, as niche as they may be, they make me me. And through journaling, I've been reminded of things at my core that bring me joy. I've been absolutely living for my inner child, who is a diva and maximalist at heart. This means embracing parts of me that love a trinket, love to dilly-dally, light up at a sweet treat and an unexpected side quest, parts of me that love to frolic. Frolic is not frivolous. Frolic loosens the soil, and without loose soil, nothing takes root and you can't bloom. For me, frolic has looked like collecting miniatures, playing with fashion, trying new hairstyles and jewelry, and perfecting my pancake recipe. Also, most recently, signing up for a ceramics class. Each of these things might seem small, but together they've helped me feel more comfortable showing up as me. I so often have silenced myself in the name of productivity, perfection, or someone else's expectations, when what my inner child really needed was permission to play, explore, be bold and curious without apology. And that's the beauty of frolic. It creates space for joy, creativity, and growth to actually happen. Frolic is necessary. It's how I remind myself that rest, play, and curiosity are not wasted time. For me, healing comes in small moments, like eating a giant blueberry pancake at the River West Blueberry Fest, not in big breakthroughs. Closing the computer when I feel guilty about not responding to a new wedding inquiry we got at 10 p.m. Letting myself try a new hobby just to try it, not because I need it to be good. Saying no when my instinct is to people please. That's also why creativity matters so much to me. Making something new, even if it's small, helps me stay connected to myself. It's a way of showing my inner child that she still has a place here. She's allowed to take up space. Blooming is not about perfection. It's about learning to be playful again, to take risks, and to know that it's okay to start where you are. So, my takeaways are this. Honor your roots. Recognize where you come from, the scraps and experiences that nourished you, and let them guide your growth. Embrace your junk. Lean into the messy, imperfect, and even painful parts of your story. They're what prepare your soil for radical growth. Live for your inner child. Give yourself permission to frolic, to play, to explore the unexpected. You don't need permission. You don't need a reason, a title, or even to monetize every hobby. These things are nourishment. Bloom out loud. Take up space. Show up fully as yourself and share your gifts with your community. Even if the timing isn't perfect, you're not behind. Blooming is a process. Don't wait for the perfect season. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't shrink yourself to fit expectations. We're all still blossoming. We're all still growing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm like literally weeping. Thank you. Wow. Do you have a clicker that I can hold for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks. I have a question before we ask Michael more questions.
Selfishly.
What?
Selfishly or for a friend?
Selfishly. Well, is anyone going to try something new today? Or just want to shout it out? Something that you feel inspired just to like be messy and try? Yeah.
I'm rehearsing with a rock band and I'm a poet. Dilly dally. Come on, dilly dally.
Kelly, what are you gonna do on your birthday today?
I'm gonna go to the lake and just maybe I'm gonna sing. I think because I listen to a lot of music, and now maybe I'll try. We did karaoke, queer karaoke, and yeah, I might start singing.
Kelly's gonna sing today. All right. We're going to ask this. We have space to ask Mikel some questions if you have any. No pressure. Sometimes no one has questions. So, any questions for Mikel?
We got one in the back.
Yes. Yeah. I saw you first, Kat. Go for it.
I love that you talked about your inner child. How did you find her? Like, what was your process for meeting her and discovering her?
Yeah, I think once I had my crash out moment in February and just like blacked out, like, okay, what am I gonna do? It kind of just like sparked something in me that I was like, I need to change. I need to like just do something else. And yeah, I started the junk journal, and just in collecting my like little random junk pieces, I feel like that really tapped into something, because I would like go look at old pictures and like see myself like being a little baby diva with like my nails done and Victoria's Secret bag. Like, what was I doing? And so I feel like, just kind of like reflecting and looking back helped bring that out of me. And then now I'm just like fully in. I'm in it.
Yeah. I can tell by your hair clip.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
First, I want to say I loved your presentation.
Thank
story.
you.
It was really inspirational.
Thank
You're
you.
a great speaker. Secondly, do you still, after your crash, did you maintain your floral business? And either way, how do you think your story differentiates your designs?
Yes. We still have 41 Floral, 1739 North MLK Drive. Do a build your own bouquet bar every day that we're open. If you want to come visit us, that's my little shameless plug. I do think it has changed my design in the sense of wanting to be like more present and like intentional with what I'm doing. And when you're just running on like autopilot and just like checking off all the boxes, I feel like you don't really get to appreciate what you're doing. And flowers are so beautiful, and I feel very blessed that I get to go to work and like see flowers every day. So I feel like I have really been trying to remind myself of those things when I'm like feeling frantic and chaotic and running all around.
Wait, yes, you.
What is your favorite flower?
That's hard. I love carnations, and I love zinnias and celosia, but I love carnations because I feel like they're so underrated. People hate on them so much, but they are so perfect. They're so hardy, they're so versatile, and I love them.
I know you have a fabulous team, Mikel. So I'm curious, like from a leader perspective, like how has that progression, or like how have you blossomed into that?
Yeah, that's been a journey too, because it's really hard for me to ask for help. I like to try to do everything myself. And so learning to you need a team, you need to lean on people. And I am very blessed and grateful to have an amazing team that does really support me and like picks up the pieces when I am like scrambly, or when I'm like, hey, like everybody wear some weird shoes to work because we're gonna do this like reel, this idea for a reel that I saw. So they're always down to just be there, and I feel like I grow with them, and they teach me so much, even like about myself. So
Yeah. If it's allowed.
It's your birthday.
You know what? Thanks for reminding me. Okay. Do you have any like mantras, Mikel? Like, are there any turns of phrase or words that you? I just have to say, like, you're a beautiful writer.
thank
and
you.
I love your voice, and it's just like such an honor, like, to hear those words from you, and so pointed. I just am curious if there's anything you return to, either it's a situational, or over time you've kind of, it's like you know it to be true.
There's a few like things, but one thing that I think about is, and this is very random, but there's a lid for every pot. You know, there's something out there for everyone, and I feel like this business has made me also remember that we, as 41 Floral, like, we might not be the florist for everyone, and trying to not like spread yourself so thin and make yourself into something that maybe you're not, just to like fit somebody else's mold or expectations. But yeah, it's such a random thing. There's a lid for every pot. Like, there's something out there for everyone.
I don't need to stand here.
I don't know. I don't want to. Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say, first of all, I ordered stuff from 41 Floral, so I'm so excited to meet you. And
Hi.
I will absolutely be coming to build my own bouquets.
Yes, please
That
do.
was an option. That's
It's very
awesome.
fun.
And if you don't want to talk about it, I completely understand. But that really negative customer that affected you for months, like, looking back, how did you get yourself out of that?
Honestly, I don't know. I still have like glimpses of like, it's like a fever dream, like a nightmare. Like, I will still like replay that day. But I think time away from it, and just like, looking back at everything, seeing where we could have improved, and knowing that I have to just like make peace with that. Otherwise, I can't like it was really, really affecting me, to the point where like every single day I was thinking about it, and like checking our emails, seeing if like they said anything, and just like it just was like an obsessive thought, and it was really impacting everything. Like, I was truly second guessing, like, do I even want to stay in business? Like, it got really bad. So it got to be to a point where it's like, okay, come on, girl, like, we gotta keep it pushing, because yeah.
One customer out of so many happy ones.
And that's normal. That's a part of business and life. But I am like very like hard on myself, and little things like that, like, it really like bothers me. So
I relate heavily. Yeah. I think we have time for, I see three more questions. Let's if that's okay.
yeah.
Murphy?
How do you interrupt or disrupt the people-pleasing tendencies? Do you have any like rituals or self-talk moments that help you with that?
Yes, it's a constant, everyday struggle and battle. But just trying to like take a step back and pause before I respond, because like my initial reaction is like, yes, like, we'll do it, we'll be there, like, what do you need? Taking a pause and being like, can you actually do this? Like, do you have the capacity to do this? Or if you do this, are you going to be neglecting something else? So I think for me, just like trying to slow down before I'm just quick to be like, yes, sign us up.
Okay, yeah, these two, yeah. Go ahead.
Hi, I was curious when you did those 3,000 extra tulips.
Yeah.
And then having to deal with the opportunities that come with that.
Yeah, that was torturous.
Yeah.
They just kept coming. Like,
It's like a children's book.
Yeah.
I can see that in a children's book.
It
like,
was a lot. And we were in a smaller space, so they literally were like lined up in the shop, and it was so cold. We did try to like give as many away that we could, but unfortunately, like a lot had to be composted because what are we gonna do with 3,000 tulips? So, yeah.
All right, last question here.
Thank you. Hi.
And I just wanted to know that if you ever had a moment of like locking in, and then how long did that take for you to reach that level that you're at?
Locking in. Yeah, my life is like a balance between like, you know, the dilly-dallying, because I'm like, I love to just, and like, okay, lock in, like you need to get this done. And yeah, I feel like I referenced that my crash out for Valentine's Day, but I really like had an eye-opening experience. Like if you want to sustain this business, you know, you do need to make the changes. And so I will say like this about myself, once I set my mind to something or like find something that I really want to do, like I'm all in. And I was like, okay, like I really want, you know, to have a sustainable business in all aspects. And so it's like a continuous process, but yeah, that like real lock-in moment, like, okay, get your shit together, came like around Valentine's Day. And now I feel like I'm just like trying to maintain that.
Focus.
Yeah, focused.
All right. Well, thank you, Mikel.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fabulous. Thank you. All right. I'm going.
Mikel did bring flowers. They're right back here. Can people just like pick up a stem and take them with them? Right back
Yeah,
there.
we have little mini bouquets back
She has
there.
little mini bouquets.
We also have our signature candle. We also have, we brought some candles from Fern and Nettle. She made 2 custom candles for us. One of them we have back there, and it smells like the shop.